Welcome to Pod 57 of the Sam Houston SportsTalk podcast. Luke Scott, Colin Neal. As always, Luke, we are getting ever so closer to football season. You can just feel it. NFL preseason is here. Everyone is overreacting to preseason performances. That's how you know football season is back. But first things first, college football starts before the NFL. And Luke, for us as Bearkats, it's the anticipation is building. I can't really describe how I'm feeling right now. I'm just already ready to get going.
That's the best way to put it, Colin. When you see the NFL preseason come on, I remember I texted you. I said, "Colin, it's just nice to have football on."
Yeah.
Like at the end of the day, it's nice to see the pigskin being thrown around, the Cowboys losing, of course,
It's
and
just preseason. Those
it's
don't
just
count.
good to get back to the old days, right? It's good to just get back to what we know, and yeah, no, super excited. Obviously, the AP poll just came out from football, the preseason poll, the coaches polls out. So it's all all the talking heads are all talking about why they're wrong and why they are right. And no, but it's good. We're all excited for it, and for Sam Houston to be a part of that Week 0 slate. You gotta love that to be in the mix in the first week.
Yeah, we're gonna be talking some Bearcat football. I went to training camp last week, and then just kind of how training camp is winding down now. Kind of just talk a little bit more about that. Then later on, we're gonna be previewing Sam Houston women's soccer 2025 season. I was out at Houston Christian to watch the team for the first time in the scrimmage against the Huskies. What I saw, what I liked, and just previewing this season and how personally I think this team might be pretty darn good this year. And then later on, we're going to talk about just some other things. Sam Houston transfer picture, this telling the a podcast, the World Baseball Network, I believe it was, why he chose Sam Houston and some other things we can get to. And then, then we have to keep on waiting. But I will say, though, be sure you subscribe today to Sam Houston Sports Talk, because we'll have position previews coming out over this week, sometime this weekend as well. We'll kind of just do it, just kind of on the faces of the game, the offense, the defense, and special teams. But in those videos, we will go over each position group and talk about each player. And they're not going to be pods; they're just going to be shortened to videos. Just get straight to the point. No BSing around. Just saying how it is. Pretty excited to do that, especially since after this week we're going to be recording the segments after this pod. But once again, be sure you follow us on all of our social media platforms, subscribe today, and be sure you check us out on Spotify as well. All right, Luke, so we're getting closer to football, and there's still some questions about how football is going to be, but I keep on getting I keep on getting reasons to be a bit more optimistic about this team. I don't know if you saw the video earlier. The Longo was late to a meeting, and the players and the coaches wanted to have some fun, and they put on the "You Can't See Me" John Cena theme
Little
song,
John Cena.
and then to black out the room with blue light, and then Longo's going absolutely crazy with the poses and everything. I say this, Luke. If every time I see something like that, when I see players that are not afraid to mess with their coach, you have a good relationship with the locker room, and we've heard it plenty of times from when we talked to Davion Davis, former wide receiver of Sam Houston, about how Longo is such a player's coach, a guy that really cares about the culture. That's one optimistic. That's one reason why I'm optimistic, Luke. I like seeing that kind of stuff, to see the players have that sort of relationship with the coach, because that not only goes good for this season, but it also goes good for the long run, especially in a time in this era of college athletics where a player can have a one good season and they just leave, or just players that just up and about and leave, like even when you don't expect it.
Yeah, I agree. It's always good to see, um, when programs release, content or whatever you would call it. That's not your typical coach at the podium speaking, or a player just talking after practice. It's always good just to see some personality being shown from the team. And yeah, when we talked to Davion, you bring up that he talked about Longo making an investment in his guys, right, and really getting to know his people, whether that's coaches, the players, the staff, anyone that's involved in the program, even us media, right? Like he's more than willing just to respond to a text, or respond to a quick question. He's a guy that will help you out, right, and he helps his team, and you can see, I think, their relationship. Yeah, they're kind of starting to build. And we'll see how it goes into that week zero matchup. Obviously, West Kentucky um, had a really good team last year, and beat us, right? And kind of was kind of one of the turning points of our season when the injuries kind of really throughout the middle of that part, kind of derailed it a little bit. But no, it was always good to see Longo having fun. The guys are having fun, and it seems like they're in pretty good spirits going into that week zero matchup.
Oh yeah, I mean they see this seems like a very united group because Luke, I and you want your team to be united, of course, but under the circumstances, there's all sorts of kinds of players on this team. Guys that are from least less experienced guys to more experienced guys, guys that have been at big programs before, guys that have gone through path, the absolute hard path that is junior college, Division 2, Division 3, and AIA, from different backgrounds. I mean, you have guys that come from all sorts of backgrounds. And if that video, if we were gonna take it from that video and some other things that I've seen and things that we've heard, you know, one thing that Longo has done a good job is uniting this team and uniting this coaching staff, especially since after losing three of them over the off season before training camp started. It seems like everything is kind of setting itself up because at the end of the day, Luke, everything starts in the locker room. Because whatever happens in the locker room, what happens in those meetings, that's what gets put out on the field. The fact that the off the field stuff seems to be locked down and seems to be taken care of, everyone seems like they're getting along, makes you feel better about what we could see as an on-field product outside of like skill and talent. Just overall off the field is almost as important as what happens on the field.
Well, Colin, some would say that the things that happen off the field are more important than on the field. But you were able to see a little bit of action on the field last week, training camp.
Yeah.
What kind of what did you like to see, or what did you see from Sam Houston? Any kind of moments that stick out to you?
Well, so first of all, one of the three returning um, defensive players that were on the two deep in the bowl game last year, Iman Allen. He's caught my eye mainly because of how he has physically developed. The dude looks like he's put on some muscle over the
What do you mean by
offseason.
that?
Stop. The dude has put on some muscle in the offseason, and and I think that's a very good sign. He's been here, and he's been there and done that for this program. He's been through the dark days. He's been through the great times of last year, and also brings continuity. You also have CJ Johnson there as well, but Iman Allen has been pretty impressive to me, and I think he's going to be a big impact uh on the defensive side of the ball. And other things, I didn't really not notice anything else that I already have seen. I mean, Hunter looks like he's throwing the ball really well. I'm still don't know who QB1 is, whether it is Hunter or if it's maybe Matoyer. Other things, Eli Wallace stood out to me. He laid a big hit. I believe they were doing 7-on-7s. Uh, Wide receiver room looks really good. Returner room looks really good as well. I saw Iman Allen, Tim Burns Jr., and Avion Smith Mack that were back to returning punts. Curtis Duran looks to be the main guy at the punter spot. Saw special teams a couple times. Saw the kickers go to work. I don't know if they're still trying to figure things out over there or not. That's a position battle I've been keeping an eye on. So, Christian Pavon was the starter last year, but I think guys like Tate Ryan, RJ Lopez, and Nico Automanelli, I believe that's how you pronounce his name. He I, that kicker room is competitive. Overall, don't have really anything else to say because I don't think I made this clear before on the pod, Luke. But media is not allowed to stay for the second half of practice whenever they do the 11 on 11. So I can't really tell y'all what else I've seen, what more than just what I've seen in drills, warm ups, and just seeing players and some that have physically developed much more over the off season. So yeah, that's really all I got when I saw training camp. Saw training camp last week. I plan on going back for the last day. Talk to Longo just to see if just see how things have went overall in training camp because then once training camp's over, Luke, the attention is immediately on Western Kentucky, and I'll tell you what, Longo really, really wants to win that first game. And I know that's rhetorical. I know that's obvious, like Doug Collin, who doesn't. The reason I think it's important, though, that they win this game is because it's not just a Conference USA game. That game is going to set the tone for the rest of the season. If they can go into Bowling Green and come out of there, escape with the win against a Western Kentucky team that aims to be pretty good this year, especially with the transfer quarterback coming in of Maverick McGiver and his offensive coordinator from Abilene Christian, Coach Helton up there. I mean, they're also dealing with this kind of the same issues as well. They have a ton of new faces as well, but it's Western Kentucky, Big Red, Hilltoppers. I mean, it's a pretty well known program, a pretty established, respectable group of six program. You go up there though, you take the win, you come back to Huntsville, getting ready for a Friday night showdown against UNLV. A lot's riding on this first game, Luke. Is basically what I'm trying to tell you.
Yeah, I mean, Colin, you can kind of look at the schedule for me, and I kind of want to get your opinion on this. Would you say, is this the most important game of the season to start out right? This first game at week 0, is that a fair thing to say?
I think it is. I don't think it's too crazy to really say like this first game is very important. Because for example, Luke, we saw what happened last year with Rice. Started like came out the gates 9.9.5 point underdogs. I can't remember the exact number. And we went into Rice Stadium and the Bearcats, kicked Rice's ass literally. Like just came out the gate, scored two touchdowns right out the bat quickly,
Yeah.
quickly. Ever since then that game though, Luke, everyone's like, "Oh, this team pretty good. We might be able to do something." And they came out with good wins against Hawaii and Mexico State. Then early Conference USA game, you got the brakes beat off of them by RJ Harvey in the UCF uh, in UCF, but the rest of the season went well, right? So it's just much different than Rice in the case of more high stakes, obviously, because it's a conference game.
Yeah, I just thought it was kind of interesting.
Yeah,
Um,
I got
when you look at
odds.
the schedule, and it's weird because you have that week 0 matchup, obviously, which is conference, and then you're like, okay, well, where is that other non-conference game, right? And then it's thrown in, right, with Oregon State right in the middle,
Yeah,
um,
yeah, that is true.
of your conference schedule, and so I think that stretch, probably that Jack State and UTEP, those back-to-back home games, I think that's going to be the most crucial stretch right there. Well, home games, right, in Houston at Shell Energy, but this Western Kentucky game, it does feel very similar. Um, Feels very similar to like a Baylor. I was looking at the Baylor schedule today, obviously because I grew up a Baylor fan, and it feels very scheduled to the Baylor Auburn game, starting out for both teams because it's like, okay, if whoever wins that game, you feel like okay, they can actually make some they can move in that conference, right? I think if Sam Houston, can win this game, everyone's gonna say, "Oh, what's Longo got cooking up?" You know, right out the bat. And I don't know. I just think that there's a lot riding going into this. Eyes will be on us, and I think this is a great opportunity for Sam Houston to get off to such a good start. I mean, the toughest part is it's going to be up there in Western Kentucky, and that crowd's going to be rocking up there for the first game of the season. There ain't a whole lot to do in Bowling Green, so when the Big Red are
Hey,
in town,
easy.
it's ready to go.
Easy. Hey, Bowling Green is a nice town. Okay, went up there when the Bearcats made that
You
trip.
liked it.
Yeah, I thought Bowling Green was a nice little town. I liked it. Went to a little tavern over there called the White Squirrel. Though it was they were nice enough, even Luke, to put on ESPN Plus when Sam Houston was playing Ole Miss men's basketball. So that's a they
Oh,
yeah.
gosh, you should have won that game.
Yeah, it was some
Oh,
questionable calls in that game, but that's a memory I don't want to relive because that game should have won. That
I
would have
remember I
been
was on a plane. I was on a plane watching that.
should have won that
Mm.
game. But I got odds though, Luke. First with the Western Kentucky game at on 8. Let's see, on August 12th, 8:24 p.m. Central Time. The Bearcats are a 10-point underdog. Money line is plus 245, plus 296 rather, I should say. Plus 245 is what it was opened up with. The spread was opened up at plus 8. It was 8.5 point underdogs for Sam Houston. That's what opened up. This is according to CBS Sports. And again, if you're not familiar, we like to look at the sports books and see what they say about the matchup because they have we all know about sports books. They probably know a lot more about stuff than than you would think. But it seems like the sports books are kind of, I guess the public, isn't it like if the spread goes more towards the bigger number on the plus side of things, it's the public's taking more Sam, or do you think the public's taking more Western Kentucky in this one? I'm not really familiar with that, how that how that really
Well,
works.
yeah. So since the line started at 8.5, and now it's up 10, so it's definitely moved in the West Kentucky way, which means public money um, has been not super heavy, but it's been on Western Kentucky for the most part. Um, yeah, that's a solid line at 8.5 and moving to 10. I mean, it's so tough on the first week of the year, right? You just don't really know.
Don't really.
You don't know what anyone's really going to put out yet, and so usually the first couple weeks, that's where a lot of people will be really aggressive. Um, making their picks because if they have maybe an in or something, they know something that the books might not. But the more thing I was interested in was that over under calling at 60.5. Remember last year, I don't remember a line ever touching 60. We could barely score maybe 20 in a game. So um, seeing that 60.5, that kind of intrigued me a little bit of thinking maybe not too kindly of our defense, but maybe not too kindly of Western Kentucky's either. So that one hasn't moved. It stayed still so far. So that was more of the what kind of caught my eye than the actual points. Of course, and it could probably expand maybe a little bit or tighten up here in the next because there's still so much time. We still got over what was it, 11 days now, right? 10 days whenever this is recorded or put out. Um, you know, till kickoff. So it's still going to fluctuate, and we'll talk about it. When we get really close to the game, but yeah, it is interesting to see how the line move. We've always talked about it, kind of checking it out and seeing what people are on, seeing the
Yeah.
you can sometimes see like on certain other websites, you can see some where the sharp money is going. So a lot of the big money late, is going in one way. A lot of times, Sam Houston was on the receiving end of that last year, which always kind of made it feel good. And the sharps were right.
I don't remember what game it was in 2023 when that caller called into some show and he just went he was just very mad that Sam Houston. I think it was either against UTEP or FIU, Sam Houston Blue League, and he got so mad. I don't know why I
You
find
talking
it.
about last year?
Yeah, not was it last year? Or was it the year before? I could have swore it
I
was.
believe
I could have swore it was the year before.
I I remember it was a um,
I
man,
don't
I
know.
think it was a standalone game. I thought it was last year because I think it was like a midweek game. The guy was like, "I'm up at Wednesday at 3 o'clock in the morning, sweat absolutely not 3 a.m., but it was like 11 p.m. at night, absolutely sweating this one with Sam Houston." But I don't know, but
Uh,
yeah,
well,
I am back looking forward to those midweek games. Those are always fun.
let's continue on the odds. I want to know what you think because I find some of these interesting. So Hero Sports wrote a small article about Sam Houston, and they gave some odds from BetMGM. I want to know what you think, Luke. But folks out there listening, watching, I want to know what you think. So be sure you leave a comment below and be sure you subscribe, follow us today if you haven't already. Sam Houston's odds to win Conference USA by BetMGM plus 1600 to make the Conference USA title game plus 500. And if you were curious, the betting odds of making the CFP itself at plus 8,000. So, but you know, I'm honestly surprised it's not higher than it's not like a plus 10,000, but that's just me. The win total on the season, the over under is 4.5, with the under being the underdog at plus 100 and the over 4.5, the favorite at minus 120. Luke, what do you think about those odds?
Yeah, I mean, 5 games. I mean, it's definitely an interesting spot, right? Because 6 games get you that bowl game. Um, and I think if you can go 2-2 in your first four, I think you can pretty much, knock on wood, lock in a 6-win season. Um, I think now if you drop, the first four, go 0-4 or go 1-3, then I think we're looking at that 5 or 4. But if it was up to me, I think I would lean. Not that we can bet because we're in Texas, obviously, but I think I would lean the over on the 4.5 for sure. I would think. I just think Sam Houston brings too much back offensively to not be able to. Well, how do I say this? They bring back too much, so that they can't be less than 4 games. Like I just don't see them only winning 4 games because I think the leadership brought back with Hunter Watson. I think the weapons are too good in this league. I think our weapons are going to be too good for just 4 wins. So I think we were sold a little bit short there, but I don't mind being an underdog.
I don't either. And maybe the defense could be a bit better than we think it will be, especially with what they brought in. But we'll talk more about that in the defense preview. Um, I I mean, I'm looking for another reason to go back to New Orleans, I guess. Go to the Caesars over there and then place a little ticket over
Oh, look out!
there. But nah, I'm not gonna do that. But if I was a betting man, I would. I'm biased, of course, but I would put the over on that. I just find it interesting though that it says it has the over under at 4.5, and then it has the team making the Conference USA title game at a plus 500. That just seems like a very big discrepancy.
Are you
So
are you sure? Because that's quite the spread there.
that's what Hero Sports put on there on via BetMGM. Plus 500 to make the conference title game, plus 1600 to win it. And then
Wow.
I don't. It's weird. It's interesting. I don't know what the sports books know that we don't, or what they're thinking, or whatever some sort of crazy algorithm stuff that they have calculating this stuff. Hey, it's
All right, Colin, you want to play a little game real quick?
what's that? We'll play this game, then we'll head to break, then break down Sam Houston women's soccer. But go ahead.
Colin, I want to get your opinion.
We,
Colin, I want to play this little game, and I want
we
to
love
see
opinions.
who do you think is the wild card team to watch out for in this conference? It's easy to say Liberty, Jack State, you know, Western Kentucky. Who is your dark horse?
Well, I can tell you one thing: it's not UTEP.
Oh, don't do them dirty like that.
Hey, I'm just saying, uh, just the comments that the head coach Scotty Walden made about the quarterback room, where they're still trying to find consistency, is very concerning. But anyway, I will say I'm gonna go FIU on this one. I don't know why FIU is getting a lot of love with and especially with Kewan Jenkins, but you can't deny the effect of Mr. Worldwide, Mr. 305 in Vice City. I don't know. Just FIU is is a pretty interesting side. They bring in a new head coach as well. They could make some noise. I mean, I think it's pretty obvious. Like, hey, gotta watch out for Liberty. Gotta watch out for Jack State. Gotta watch out for Western Kentucky. Middle Tennessee, I think they still got some growing to do. I don't know much about what's going on over there, but I think they still got some growing to do. Delaware, Missouri State. I would say Delaware, Luke, if they were qualified to play in the Conference USA. I think the championship, because they're still going through eligibility, the transitions and all that. So I'm gonna go with
Dumbest thing
FIU.
ever. Dumbest thing ever.
Yeah, it is. But I'm gonna go FIU as one of my is like a dark horse. If I want to, if I want to just name one on the spot right now.
That's an interesting pull. I was not expecting FIU. You said what I was thinking. I'm thinking Middle Tennessee might be the team that maybe look out for. Obviously, didn't have the year they won it last year. Actually, the only team that Sam Houston didn't play in conference. Correct?
Yeah, it
I
was
believe that's correct.
probably a good thing, because the last time these two teams faced, it ended in a bit of in a good old gentlemanly dispute.
Yes, it did. Yes, it did. It's a good pull right there. No, I think it could be Middle Tennessee. I think there were some growing pains that you kind of talked about last year, and I think they have what it takes to kind of get over. I think Derek Mason is a good coach. I think they got the right idea of what they want to do, and you can kind of see uh, some growth there. I think that last year, and I don't know, they just feel like a solid little team to maybe bet on. I don't know they just kind of I don't know, they were just kind of my first thought, but um,
they they were a team I was
I
thinking
don't really.
about. We'll say that.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm looking at their schedule actually right now, and the schedule is not awful.
They got to go to Wisconsin. I know
Um,
that. They got to go to Madison, Wisconsin.
they do, but like a lot of their I think they're pretty tough games. I think they're getting it at home. I think Missouri State at home. Missouri State could be quite the little dark horse as well. Obviously eligibility there too, but they get them at home. They get Jacksonville State at home. They get FIU at home. They get Sam at home. They avoid Liberty. They avoid They avoid UTEP, so they could have had an automatic win there. But um, I just think Middle Tennessee might be a little team, a sneaky Blue Raider.
Okay. Interesting. I like that pick. I like that pick. I think they do have a good coach out there in Derek Mason. I think that was a good hire. It's just first their wide receivers are pretty good last year. They had good wide receivers last year that were up in the top in Conference USA in receiving yards. Just got to obviously have everything else formulate in order,
The defense is
yeah,
really kind of what let him down last year at
yeah.
times.
So, but we'll talk more Conference USA next week though when we do our football preview and our preview heading into Western Kentucky. So hold your pencils, hold your thoughts on that for a little while, and
Pin
we'll
in that. Let's put in
pen.
that, Colin.
Hey, if you make a mistake, how are you gonna fix it? Can't erase it. Can't erase it with a pen.
No, but you safety pin.
Okay, safety pen, safety pen. But up next,
Come on, Colin. Come on, Colin.
up next, we're gonna go to the pitch. We're gonna talk about some Sam Houston women's soccer. I'm pretty stoked about this season. I'll tell you why. We preview this team and the 2025 season. They kick it off this Thursday. We'll give you some information you need to know about this team. Again, could be pretty interesting. Let's talk about that next here on Sam Houston Sports Talk. All right, welcome back to Sam Houston Sports Talk. All Neil, Luke, Scott. Let's go ahead and preview Sam Houston Bearkat women's soccer. It's pretty interesting season. They were picked 6th in the Conference USA preseason poll. It was pretty. It was much higher than I thought it was going to be. And I think it's pretty spot on. And we'll tell you why in a little bit. But first, looking at the schedule, first year under head coach Kendall Ayers, who comes from Texas Southern, had a great first season at Texas Southern, then came to Huntsville, Texas. They begin with 2 games on the road. First off, in Nacogdoches against Battle of the Piney Woods rival Stephen F. Austin. That kicks off Thursday. That's going to be on ESPN Plus. It looks like a lot of these games are going to be on ESPN Plus. But then after that, they're going to go up north to Luke's area of the woods in Denton to face North Texas on Sunday, August 17th. Then the first home game is going to be a big one against the University of Houston on August 21st. Sam Houston beat Houston in a great game last year, one of the biggest wins in program history. Then they face the Islanders in Texas A&M Corpus Christi at home. Then they will stay at home one more time to face Lamar August 31st. Then they go on a pretty long road trip, Luke, a series of 4 road games. First at GCU on September 5th, then 2 days later. My God, that's a very quick turnaround. Then 2 days later, they'll face SMU in Dallas, and then they face McNeese 4 days later on September 11th. Then 9 days later, September 20th, they begin conference play against New Mexico State at Las Cruces, excuse me. Then they go 4 straight games at home, Luke. Louisiana Tech on September 28th, October 2nd against MTSU, WKU October 5th, UTEP October 11th, and then they end their season with the 3-game road stretch, October 16th against FIU, October 19th against Missouri State, and then up to Lynchburg, Virginia to face the Liberty Flames before they have the Conference USA tournament in Lynchburg, November 2nd to November 7th. Quite an interesting schedule to say the least. I mean, you're going 2 straight games on the road, then 3 straight games at home, 4 straight on the road, 4 straight at home, and 3 straight on the road. It's honestly a pretty fun schedule, especially since you start off with a rival. It could be quite an eventful season for head coach Kendall Ayers in her first season as at the helm of Sam Houston women's soccer.
Yeah, and you talked about, it's their first season with Kendall Ayers, and Sonia Crivello had a good little run, and you could see things building, and now she's gone, and now in comes another new coach, right? And so it will be interesting to see kind of how the season progresses, and when you look at the roster, and obviously last year it was always you know, can we just score enough goals, right? It was kind of felt like your goals only could come from only a couple different places, and now those goal scorers, some of them are still here, but some of them are gone. So it's going to have to be some production that's going to have to come from their transfers, from freshmen, anywhere you can get them, right? Um, the one thing I noticed a lot of juniors and a lot of seniors calling this team is not a young team, which I think will service us very well, and especially in this first stretch against a lot of familiar teams. You're looking at um, Stephen F. Austin played them last year. UNT. I don't think we played UNT last year, but we played Houston. We played Corpus. Obviously, Lamar and Grand Canyon are both former in conference opponents that we've played over the years for a while. So I think the first part of the schedule sets up, I think, decently for this team going forward.
Yeah, and the I got to see them firsthand for the first time, and there's still a lot of players, Luke, that are left over from the Corvello administration, which is why I think that the Conference USA in the preseason the Conference USA preseason poll, they were rated 6, and that's getting into the Conference USA tournament, Luke. And that's not, and to me, that's not necessarily the norm, especially when you bring in a new head coach. But the fact that they still retained quite a lot of players. I mean, you still got Pam Murray there, you got Tiana Johnson there, Alessandra Maldonado, Jasmine Marquez, who was picked to the preseason All Conference USA team. You got Indigo Sims, who was an exciting freshman last year, Soleil Young, Ariana Carrington, and Jasmine Dybala. I mean, you got some players that stuck around. Kinsey Hill as well. Caden Sanders. Same thing. It's just like you retain a lot of talent, and you also brought in experienced players. I saw Sierra Herbert, a transfer from Kansas. I thought she was interesting. You also got others in Ellie Morgan and excuse me, Samantha Rank, the goalie. I thought she was pretty impressive. We'll say this though, the goalie room is very good this year. I saw all three goalkeepers went into the game on last week. It was 3 30-minute periods. And both those, not both, all three of those goalkeepers did extremely well. It's just that one goal, Luke, that went that got past Drew Tolley, who came in the second period. It was just it was just a turnover in midfield. HCU was just able to counter really well. The defense got back and forced a difficult shot. Just the HCU score just placed the ball on the inside of the left post. It was just perfect shot. There's just nothing. It's just one of those shots, Luke, that a goalie can't really do much about except just hope they lay a finger on
Yep.
it, or just hope that the ball bounces on the wrong side of the post and just not goes into the back of the net. So one thing I saw, Luke, was the attacks that they developed were pretty good. I just think that they just had a bit of trouble finishing off those attacks. But the fact that they were formulating attacks really well against HCU is a very good sign because you said it yourself. If they can just score more goals, they could really be more comfortable in a lot of these games last year. It's just that goals were hard to come by in a lot of those games last year. So bringing in a coach in Kendall Ayers, who I've gotten told in you know in short sense knows her stuff, and I got to talk to her. She's nice. She's cool. She does know. I think I mean, from what I've seen, I think she definitely does know what she definitely knows what she's doing. So I think so far right now a good hire. The team seems to rally around her, and I think a very underrated part that not a lot of people are talking about that's huge for Kendall Ayers' first season as Sam Houston head coach. Alyssa Gregory, who is assistant coach, goalkeepers coach under the Corvello administration, she stays. So you know what that does, Luke? It helps Kendall Ayers, get well in tune with the players that stayed. And it seems like
Yeah.
Coach Gregory seems to get along with the players really well. And I think that's very key. And then I think Gregory is also a good coach as well. So I mean, circumstances overall, Luke, really favor Ayers this year, and we could honestly, this team could surprise us this year. Could surprise quite a lot of people this year.
I think so too. It's also kind of funny to see on the roster, Colin. The first few games we have transfers from all those schools, right? You open up with SFA, Gabrielle Gibson, transfer from SFA.
Yeah.
Addison Christian, transfer from North Texas. We play North Texas. We have a Texas A&M Corpus Christi transfer. I mean, it is pretty funny to see how that kind of that lined up, and I'm sure
Yeah.
that game will be circled on some of the schedules there individually. But I think where this team is going to really be strong is in that midfield position, Colin. A lot of seniors, a lot of juniors, a lot of returning players, and just a lot of minutes returning in that midfield 3 or 4, depending however they'll line up. Um, I think that'll really give this team a good spine, if you will, a good core. Down the middle that can help this team kind of balance because I think at sometimes that midfield position. I don't know soccer comment at all. Really, I'm just talking now. But you
Yeah.
feel like that midfield position kind of stabilize both the front and the back, right? And so you're hoping. Um, I don't know. I just think that midfield position that's going to be a strong suit for us.
Yeah, I mean, it's mainly because you kept players like Pam Murray. You also kept Jasmine Marquez, who's been really good in her time as a player at Sam Houston, Ariana Carrington as well. I think they're still. I don't know how they did in their last scrimmage against Seminole State. I try to find out, and I haven't gotten word about what happened over there. But I think they're still. I wonder if they're still trying to figure some things out. Like, who do you want? Like, who do they want to take the corners on the right or the left side? Who do you want to take the free kicks from more than 30 yards out or within inside 20 yards or on the left and on the right side? What kind of tactics do you want to run? In this situation when we have these players on what tactics fit this player better when they're on the pitch. So it's I think they could do quite a lot. This is a very this is I had a great time personally watching this team because they look so fun to watch. They made the right decisions on the small stuff, whether it's letting a ball go out whenever they like you wouldn't think that'd be a big issue sometimes, Luke, but sometimes some players they want to touch the ball and try to dribble it out for themselves and not just let it go out for a throw in. So you can kind of reset a little bit. And like I said, the goalkeeping room is really good with Samantha Rank and Drew Tolley and Katie Bond. That's gonna be that's a I don't know who's gonna I don't know who's gonna start that first game, but it's like what Kendall Ayers said about the goalkeeper room when I interviewed her. It's like you can't really tell it. You see how this goalkeeping room is. You have a freshman in Tolly, graduate transfer in Bond, and then rank a sophomore transfer. I mean, this you just can't you can't tell. If you go up there, you would think that all three of those goalkeepers are very experienced and really good. Basically, what she was saying. If I were to point out some impact players, though, I mean, Jasmine Marquez has already won, but Tiana Johnson and Alessandra Maldonado, those were really good players. And then I've already mentioned Sierra Herbert. Also look out for Taylor Vance as well, the Georgia State transfer, just from up the road in Frisco, Texas. And I could go through every single one of these players because a lot of them did a lot of good things. I'm just curious though to see what that first 11 is out there. But I imagine though that with how the substitutions work in college, I think Kendall Ayers is going to try a lot of different things as long as everyone's comfortable with it. I just try not to force anything. It's going to be. I think the first few games are going to be a little rough because everyone's got to get used to everyone and the tactics. But overall, Luke, pretty excited to see what this team can do in 2025.
I am too, and also Kendall Ayers played in the Conference USA, which is also another fun fact because she went to Louisiana Tech, so she kind of understands kind of what goes on during the conference, and things change over the years. But she knows what what the team goes through, and she understands, that kind of that schedule, right? So I think they got a great fit there, Colin. I think the schedule is a fun schedule. I think it sets up well for some momentum, throughout the middle of the season, and one of the few sports in the spring or in the fall time that will be played on campus, Colin. So I'm sure there will be some good crowds.
What I if there's something I really wish that the NCAA would change about soccer is that each conference goes on a point system and the clocks don't count down, they count up. That's this kind of that's all I ask for. That's all I ask for when it comes to college soccer as a whole.
Full 90-minute or 45-minute halves.
Yeah, and they do 45-minute halves, but they count down, they don't count up, which
Got to
is
have that extra time,
it,
Colin.
it's
Got to have that extra time.
it's just odd for me for someone that watches soccer, uh, and someone that played soccer. So, but anyway,
Colin,
that's just a small little rant.
who's your pick? Who's your pick to win the conference?
Ooh, mean, Lane Liberty is obviously the runaway favorite. I don't think it will be them though. It actually no. I might go. Liberty is the favorite. I'm gonna go with Liberty because they host the tournament and they're usually pretty decent. So I'm gonna go Sam Houston Bearcats, baby. Let's rock.
That's where I'm going. That's where I'm going. I'm all in on Candeliers right now. I'm all in
Yeah,
on the team.
I don't give. I don't what. I don't give a damn about nothing but the cats, baby. Let's go.
Nothing but the
Nothing
cats.
but the cats. Uh,
Hashtag two
Two
things. Nothing but
things.
the
Two things.
cats.
Two things. All right. We're going to roll into the final segment. We're just going to talk about just certain things and then we'll wrap things up. Keep it tuned right here on Sam Houston Sports Talk. We'll be right back right after this. Rolling along into the final segment of Sam Houston Sports Talk Pod 57. If you haven't already, be sure you like and subscribe. We're at 240 subscribers on YouTube. We're trying to get to 250, a quarter of 1,000 subs before the football season begins. So tell your friends, tell your family, tell the homeless guy across the street that may or may not have a phone. I don't care who you tell. Tell them like, hey, listen, come here, listen. You ready? Listen. Subscribe to Sam Houston Sports Talk. And if they're not a fan of video, that they like audio, then hey, it's on Spotify. So go tell them. Go tell them. Go tell them. I don't care. I don't care if you tell your enemies too. I don't care. We're trying to get to 250 subscribers. Luke, before we wrap things up, kind of want to just talk about some small things real quick. First off, we got sent this by good old Cats on Top. It looks like a big donation's on the way for Sam Houston men's basketball. Alumni Chuck Jones said that Debbie and I are made our largest single donation ever to Sam Houston State for physical improvements to Bernard G. Johnson Coliseum and Bearcats men's basketball. This is to support the fantastic student athletes and coaches who participate here. Coach Mudge, who is the head coach, works to build lifelong relationships and teaches values to live by for every single person. Hashtag Bearcats help Bearcats. I like seeing that, Luke, because if there's one thing that this school and athletics department desperately needs, it needs alumni support more than ever, especially coming into this day, going through this day and age of college athletics. So it's really cool to see alumni uh, pitching in and helping out the university and the athletics programs that they choose to support.
Yes, yes. Thank you, Chuck Jones. Um,
I wonder how
obviously,
big I wonder how big this
as a
donation
COBA
is.
graduate, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It is. I mean, the Bernard G. Johnson Coliseum, Colin. I mean, it's an old building. You see it and it looks old. Everything about it is old, but there is some quality there. You could improve maybe on some aesthetics there. I mean, of course, the court has been fixed. Obviously, we had a little bit of issue with the bleachers there, Colin, but
Yeah, it's
like
gonna
that has
be
been. taken care of. So maybe this will finance some of that and maybe a little bit more, Colin.
Oh, we'll see. Maybe my
I
dream
think
thing is
I
is
think
to
Mr.
put.
Neal might have to make a donation here too pretty soon.
I'll buy the ring. My dream though is to have the an overhead scoreboard, uh, with like with the jumbotrons up there and like above the court and not like against the and not like to the that would be the north side of the Coliseum, I think, where the scoreboard is. They talked about for many years having the overhead scoreboard and how technology now has allowed them to hang something there because apparently if they hang something heavy, if they're not using the right like support systems, the roof could probably collapse on itself and then now you're just kind of
Ooh.
yeah, it's I mean that'd be pretty cool, but hopefully it goes to other things. Maybe improves, maybe new locker rooms, maybe some other stuff that can be added on in the Coliseum or maybe even outside the Coliseum. So pretty cool to see alumni supporting alumni. Another thing, Peyton Huff, transfer right-handed pitcher from Southern, he comes in and he'll be one of the most highly touted transfer prospects coming in into the 2026 season, in which is gonna it could be here before you know it. Especially with how highly anticipated this baseball season is going to be. He went on the World Baseball Network. I'll play the clip right here. Um, why he chose Sam Houston.
Sam Houston, why the Bearcats out of all the teams, to transfer to? What stuck out about that program to you?
This coach Sirianni, like when we had our meeting and I went down there for my visit, this really felt like he wanted me there. I went to like a lot of Power Four schools and stuff like that, and it was just kind of like I was another guy in a sense. So like Coach Sirianni really gave me, oh, you have a spot here. We really want you here. We're gonna develop you more. This It just really gave me a sense of home. So
Well, Luke, I will say that's tough for the and this is all jokes, I promise, but it's a tough day for the Fire Sirianni squad that we've been hearing all season. Well, hey, it is really cool to see that. Hey, I went to visit power schools. They were just teaching me as just somebody else, and then when he went on visit to Sam Houston and Sirianni like said, hey, we want you here. We have a place for you here. We think you're going to be really good for us. And just the fact that, I mean, the overall aspect of it is like, hey, it's like a family aspect. Like, hey, you're not just a player to me. You're someone I truly care about. And it's really cool to see that there's still that sort of thing that matters for athletes that are trying not to just play sports, but also continuing to further their education. And the environment seemed like it was very important for a guy like Peyton Huff. And I don't know, just really cool to see. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I think I have it on pretty good insight that Chuck might have thrown the bag also this time to get some basement. No, I'm just kidding. It is good to see the culture maybe winning out there over clout or cash, somewhere that you can grow. And you're right, it might be a tough day for the Fire Ceremony crowd. Although I really don't know how serious that crowd is right now.
You know,
Or
they're pretty serious.
a little bit, but also you got to factor in Colin Sirianni brings in a lot of ex leadership, a lot of ex veteranship.
I mean, I've said it before. Like, yes, just like any other coach in the history of sports, they will make some decisions you're not going to like. And then there's going to be that one season where nothing just falls right. Like, and the fact that Sirianni though has done more with less, has gotten this team to a regional, has won this team a lot of games, has won against quality opponents.
Originals.
I'm
Colin,
just
I just
saying.
think this team. I think the team, the program, Colin, you're right. No one's done more with less than head coach Jay Sirianni. I mean, you got to really think about I mean, resources are scarce among mid-major baseball, and unless you're a DBU or that type of program,
Liberty, La Tech.
even I mean, yeah, true. Yeah, Liberty does have the money, don't they?
Yes, they do.
They don't have Sirianni though. I'll tell you that they don't have Jay Sirianni.
I I do think though this season is probably Sirianni's biggest season of his career in the terms of how, like, hey, you that last season was last season, but now you got to fix it. And I think
Most consequential season, maybe.
consequential season. There you go. He's more than deserved the right to fix it. And personally, right now, I'm pretty confident, especially with the players that he's bringing in. And of course, we'll talk more about baseball as we get closer, and with the fact that they're getting some new turf. And maybe the turf is a kind of a little bit of a symbolism to, like, hey, the past is the past. Let's now look towards the future. And especially since this team is going to be hosting the Conference USA tournament in 2027. So yeah, I'm pretty intrigued about baseball season in 2026. But that will do it for us here on Sam Houston Sports Talk. That's Luke Scott. I'm Colin Neal. Be sure you are keeping an eye out on the YouTube page for position previews. We're going to do offense, defense, and special teams as 3 separate videos. We'll go through the positions in there as well. As always, guys, eat 'em up, cats. Football season's almost upon us, but don't forget about the other sports. Watch Sam Houston Soccer begin their season on Thursday against the purple team in the East, Stephen F. Austin. So eat 'em up, cats. Have a great rest of your week. Luke, I will say you gotta have to stop doing that long pause at the end where you take like 10 seconds to say eat 'em up, cats, because it makes it hell to edit the end.
No cats.